exactly what to do in week 1 of 12.1. Focus on this stuff first. So we got our first week, our preseason week of 12.1 opening up here. Let's get into the guide of what to do basically from August 11th through August 18th from the Comeback Kids.
Okay, Season 2 is just about here, and we're getting a ton of new content starting this week. A new zone, progression systems, reputation, challenges, and ways to gear up. This means this week is pretty much your preparation week. Not only that, grab some easy upgrades to prep for the launch of the season next week. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you exactly what to do this week in 12.1 and what to focus on first, what's worth farming, and how to get the most out of your time before the official season starts.
More detail
so kicking it off, the very first thing you should do when this patch goes live is unlock the brand new zone, the Coiled Isle. This is the island sitting off the eastern coast of Zul'Aman that we have been able to see throughout midnight, but we haven't been able to enter it until now. To gain access...
How you guys feeling about this storyline? Because that's what we're going to do. Servers will come back up. We're going to do the new story quest, right? You got to go through the new story, figure out what's going on. Are you guys excited for it? I mean, it's all right, you know? Gaze, I don't know. You know, I guess we'll get some Amani troll shit, so that's kind of, I would be very excited if, like, this story unlocks a playable Amani trolls or something. That would have been cool, but, you know, Blizzard don't like easy W's. I don't give a shit. I think that's how a lot of people feel. I think a lot of people feel like this is like a side quest patch, but hey, we'll get the story. We'll see what it's all about. I think it would have been more exciting if I knew Bwansamdi was going to show up or something. He's not. It doesn't seem that way, so... we'll get into it though, and we'll play through the story. We'll see what all means.
You need to head on over to Silvermoon City and begin the new patch 12.1 campaign with a quest called Hagar's Invitation. From there, you simply continue following the campaign until you complete the quest, What Lies Beyond the Fog. Once that quest is finished, full access to the Coiled Isle is unlocked across your entire warband, which means you won't have to do this repeatedly across your alternate characters. So step number 1, simple, go to Silvermoon, pick up the quest, follow the campaign, and that will have you unlock the zone. This is of course important because the Coiled Isle is not just a normal outdoor zone, it has 2 major sections. You have the surface of the island, which contains the campaign, world quest, side stories, rares, treasures, curse surge, delves, the new dungeon, and the lair boss, and then underneath the island you have the Vault of Atal'Utek, which is a massive underground area filled with events, a couple new systems that we need to dive into. So once the Coiled Isle is unlocked, the next thing I would check is the available world quest and special assignments. The Coiled Isle has its own set of world quests spread throughout the zone, and these are going to naturally tie into your early reputation progress and general outdoor rewards. The gear here early on...
I can't remember the last time I cared about reputations. I mean, I guess I did a little bit when the expansion launched. Do you guys remember there was like those champions, some of the slots that we could get champion gear? That was like the best gear you can get when the first expansion went live. I think that was it. I don't really chase reputations anymore. Which is, it's actually a good thing. Like, Blizzard's not forcing me to do it because they're not tying player power to it, really. So it's like an improvement on the game. I don't think I should be forced to chase reputations. But I know there's a lot of people out there that's what they do. Like, they'll rep grind. As soon as the patch goes live, they're going to do what the Comeback Kids say here. They're going to go start rep grinding shit. Nope, you didn't care about those either. Well, I said I was going to care about them. And I did look at them a little bit. I just didn't do it. I ended up getting gear later on. I didn't give a shit. But yes, that was like the last time I really looked at reps, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll go get that.
Is going to be pretty lightweight, probably floating around adventurer level track gear, and your special assignments should start giving you veteran track gear, which is decent if you're on a fresh character or just getting started heading into the season. If you don't need the gear, I highly recommend just prioritizing anything that gives you, of course, meaningful progression. This includes reputation with the new Zul'Jara Forces faction, any useful currency, progress toward another weekly objective that you need to complete. Personally, I would not put World Quest at the top of the priority unless you desperately need the items, but this is something that you should at least be aware of and check out if you're knocking out some other activities in the area. Do World Quest while you're already moving through the island. Don't make it the main entree of your gaming session, if that makes sense. After that, we move into the major world events, and there are 3 important things you should be paying attention to week 1.
Okay.
One of them is Curse Surges, the second is the Vault Weekly, and the third is the World Difficulty Lair. lair system. First up, when it comes to curse surges, these are pretty much just quick
Poison
outdoor
dots on the
scenarios
map.
that rotate between 5 locations around the Coiled Isle and appear roughly once an hour. They begin with a series of objectives you need to complete, and once those are finished,
Maybe
a
I'll
mini
do
boss
these.
appears at the end. These are pretty much just your typical open world objective based encounters, nothing too crazy here.
Oh, this is interesting though. We can get coffer key shards. I'm assuming these are season 2 coffer key shards, which we won't have bountiful delves in week 1, but maybe it's a good idea to kind of build some up and then jump into delves in week 2 when the season goes live, and then all of them will convert over to coffer keys for bountiful. That's kind of cool.
Whenever you complete a curse surge, it gives you a venom-soaked satchel that can reward you with Voidlight Marl, Adventure Crest, gear, and coffer key shards. I'd say the number one reason you're doing this is just for completing the weekly, asking you to complete these curse surges, so don't think anything crazy is about to happen by completing this content. Finishing that weekly rewards you with 1,000 reputation with Zordrar's forces and a Season 2 Pinnacle cache, so getting 3 of these done should be one of your bigger priorities for the week. You also shouldn't just be standing still waiting for the next event to spawn. Of course, in between the events, try to do other activities like world quests, side quests, rares, exploration, and a couple of other things. The next major activity in the zone is inside underneath, and it's called the Vault of Atal'Utek. The vault has a repeatable event cycle made up of 3 phases. The first phase is called Strikes, where strikes are smaller open world objectives that appear throughout the vault. There are 6 different versions, and each one asks the players to do a bunch of, tasks and stuff. Similar to mini world events that we got with like the Void Assault stuff. So when the 3 strikes are completed, it will now turn into an incursion, and the incursions are larger, I guess, harder events to complete. Instead of just being a quick objectives, the players in the area, I guess, come together, work together to complete that bigger task. When you complete the incursion, you will then move on to the final area, which is when the event summons an ancient foe. Pretty much just a final boss encounter where everyone goes to the event, fights the boss, and yeah, you beat them. So once that boss is defeated...
Sounds like these guys are going to be like the old style of a world boss, almost. That's it. That's the only kind of world boss-esque stuff we're going to have, because the real world bosses now are going to be inside the layers.
The event resets back to the strike phase, and it's pretty much just rinse and repeat at that point. These events reward you with things like gear and corrosive coins, which you use throughout the vault and to progress your account-wide Altar of Corrosion upgrades. While you're waiting for those larger events to progress, you can also complete smaller solo objectives called patrols for additional corrosive coins as well. I'd say the biggest reason you're spending time inside of the vault is filling up that weekly bar quest. Completing that rewards you with reputation, corrosive coins, coffer key shards, I believe a delve map, and a venom curse fragment, as well as unlocking a tier 7 world content row for your Great Vault, which is kind of cool. The idea is that you take these venom curse fragments, you combine 2 of them, and then you create a champion track item. So this is definitely not a weekly you want to miss as well. Corrosive coins, like we said, are the main currency inside of the vault. They're used for 2 different ways.
Champion track goes up to, what, 299 we saw? Or that's like 2 of 3 champion is 299. So these are good item levels. I'll pull it up real quick so everyone can see again. Yeah, champion will take you 292 to 309. So that is actually an upgrade. Yeah, worth getting, actually.
First, you have, the simple one, which is, the vendor that gives you a ton of cosmetic rewards, including mounts, weapons, armor appearances, pets, housing decorations, and more. And then the second one, like we stated earlier, is for the Altar of Corrosion. This is an account-wide upgrade tree that makes you stronger and more efficient, specifically inside of the vault.
Yeah, is anyone else sick of these things? I'm kind of tired of, just trees and like all these talent trees. Yeah, I feel like I don't need a talent tree for every single piece of content. So now this thing is gonna basically empower you throughout all of the zones and the new zone. So outdoor world content is basically like a buff for outdoor world content. Did we need it? Yeah. Because you never do them. I mean, I did the Omnium Folio shit and everything, and I did the Titan belt when that came out, and the ring when that shit came out. I just don't know. I don't need it. I don't need one of these every single patch.
Finally, from there...
And it's time-gated, too, of course. That's what all this shit is. It's just time-gated shit.
You make sure you complete the new lair inside of the Tidebound Grotto. This is basically an instance world boss with multiple difficulties, and this is actually the first time ever Blizzard is doing something like this. So during week 1, you do have to know it's an instance world boss with the world level difficulty available. It's not really going to give you much, to be honest with you, some basic gear. The greater rewards are going to come out when the season opens up the following week. So if you want to just complete it or you need the items or go test it out, you can do that. Once you finish completing all the important campaign unlocks and the limited weekly objectives, I would highly recommend clearing out the Coiled Isle side quest. The island contains 11 local storylines, and these are one of the better one-time sources of reputation for the new faction, the Zul'Jara's forces, which we'll talk about in a second. Individual side quests give you 50 rep, while the end of each storyline gives you 250 rep. So completing all these is going to give you a really nice amount of renown progress, good reputation, and push you toward unlocking all those rewards from the new faction. I definitely don't think you should be prioritizing this by all means. This is just something that I would recommend to do if you have some extra free time. I wouldn't do this before the campaign or the Curse Surge weekly, the Vault weekly, or even the Lair boss. Not only that, there is also some island exploration based collect.
By the way, this quest right here is giving you a Bounder's Trove Hunter's Bounty, which is also another good thing to get, you know, as you prepare for Bountiful Delves to actually hit.
Exploration-based collectibles as well. There are 10 lore objects marked by an hourglass icon on your minimap, and each one rewards you with 250 reputation. Not only that, there are also 22 named treasures, with each one rewarding 50 reputation and contributing toward the Treasures of the Coiled Isle achievement. So you can pretty much knock all this out at the same time if you're doing all these quests. If you look on screen, we should have the locations here for you, no problem, so go ahead and check these out. Doing all this content is very important because this now feeds into the new main faction, Zul'Jara's forces, a 20 level warband wide renown track.
Oh yeah.
You earn reputation from pretty much doing anything throughout the Coiled Isle, and this reward track has a ton of cosmetic items, armor appearances, mounts, pets, toys, decor, a cloak, tabard, several Amani themed rewards. I mean, you get the idea here. There are 3 also mounts tied to this track,
lots of Amani themed shit.
A quest line, and 2 that eventually can be purchased. There's also a really cool toy that turns you into a child of Atal'Utek, which is really nice. Cosmetic shoulder.
Oh, the playable Sethrak, finally in the game. You know, we got Vulpera instead of these guys, but hey, you can at least get a toy, I guess, from this rep and pretend like you're one.
Pieces, recolored world armor
pretend
sets
you live in an alternate universe where we got the Sethrak.
Armor items and other stuff. So one of the cooler renowned factions to, I guess, dive into. And then finally, we have the rare farming. There are 12 rares spread throughout the Coiled Isle. They also, you know, go toward an achievement, which is cool. The first time you defeat each rare also gives you 50 reputation with this faction. And then there are also 2 rare drop mounts available for the collectors.
That's a cool
I think they're
mount.
called the Ruby Wraith and the
Topaz
Skyfang or something. So if you're interested, check these out as well. Moving on next, we have the new season of Prey, and I want to make it very clear that during the first week, we're mostly using Prey to just prep ourselves for when the real, you know, difficulty opens up, because this week we're only getting normal and hard difficulty Prey. Not only that, we are also receiving a brand new Season 2 reward track, which is unlocked by completing the quest Prey, a slithering threat, which is grabbed from Atal'Utek in Silvermoon yet again. Once that's unlocked, you can track your progress through the Journeys tab, which is nice, and dive into that whole thing. Now, I would say the biggest thing to understand is that Nightmare difficulty, once again, does not start until next week, so don't think you're diving in all the crazy content here.
Right.
This happens on August 18th, so this week it's just about opening up the system, making sure everything's ready to go so you're prepped for season opening. Moving on next, we have Delves, and this is another area where I think a lot of people might get confused.
Doing this.
Starting on the 11th.
Because you can push Delves from level 1 to level 11, and it's going to be a good thing to kind of get done. You'll get some gear out of it, and you'll get your Delves ready for the actual Bountiful season kickoff.
All of the normal Season 2 Delve tiers become available. However, Bountiful Delves, Delve keys, and all that stuff with Nemesis question
you don't want to do a low-level
this
Bountiful.
Comes out on
you want to do it
August
high level.
18th. So week 1 should just be about unlocking and clearing the available tiers, getting the system opened up, and stuff like that. There also might be some sources, maybe like World Quest and Pinnacle Caches, that can reward you with keys to prep for next week. That is something they did in the War Within. I don't know if they're going to do that with Midnight. They didn't do it in Season 1, so I'm really not sure. Either way, at the current moment in time, Tier 4 Delves primarily give you Adventurer Track Source, while Tier 5 and 6 move into Veteran, which is kind of cool. Moving on next, we have Heroic and Mythic Zero Dungeons. I'd say if you're on a fresh level 90 or just returning after a long break, you can kick off with some Heroic Dungeons. These give you Veteran Track Gear and Miss Crest, which is a simple way to just replace some bad pieces. This will give you the opportunity to learn the dungeon pool, and then I guess get yourself comfortable with some friends, guildies, or even on your own character. When it comes to Mythic Zeros, however, the Mythic Zero Dungeons drop item level 292 gear, which is Champion 3 out of 6, which is a very strong starting point for the preseason, especially because, you know, Mythic Plus, the Raid, Bountiful Delves, and all that higher stuff doesn't come until next week. This is like the main...
One really good thing about doing Mythic Zeros this week, too, is, guys, we are getting, like, massive class changes. Huge. Like some people's talent trees are completely getting, people are getting new talents, new ways to play. Rogues are getting a raid buff, like all kinds of weird shit's happening. Your class is going to play very different and your spec's going to play very different. So it's probably a good idea to go through some dungeons in this preseason week and kind of relearn your rotation a little bit.
Bit of, I guess, quote unquote,
Just
difficult
lock in that
content
main, you know?
to tackle this week. There are a ton of really good items from the dungeon pool, like weapons and trinkets and stuff, so definitely dive into this. Don't forget also just to check Silvermoon for any weekly quests and chores that you might need to get
What's
done.
up, Beer?
This could be a good way to start earning some extra currency and, you know, crest for the season as well. And don't forget to also tackle some professions in order to get some crafting orders ready,
yeah,
profession knowledge, farm out whatever you need, whether it's blacksmithing, engineering stuff, prep for the season, because we're going to tackle this very, very heavy next week in some of our other gearing videos. And before we go into our final checklist, something I think that's very important that a lot of people sleep on is joining a guild. A new season means a new ton of content to do with other players. Even if you play mostly solo or pug, having a guild or community around you makes the entire season just substantially more fun and enjoyable. If you are looking for a guild, you are more than welcome to join the Comeback Kids Guild. We have multiple raid nights, a ton of members that are super active, an amazing guild master. We have the Discord link down below, and any and all are more than welcome to come on, join, hang out, and goof off with the Comeback Kids. Okay, now time for everyone's favorite part, the one and only Comeback Kids priority checklist. We're going to go through exactly what you need to do step by step for launch day on a quick checklist, so be sure to save this as a screenshot to have on your second monitor.
Oh, here we go.
August
Nice.
11th.
Okay.
First and foremost, head to Silvermoon, pick up the quest to start the Coiled Isle, and unlock all the major systems tied to it. Follow that little breadcrumb and, you know, complete everything you need to unlock the entirety of the zone. From there, grab any weekly quests from the Coiled Isle zone and start knocking down some of the chores, like your Curse Sworges, the Vault of Atal'Utek weekly, and then progress your Altar of Corrosion. Additionally, if you need the item level, knock out the new lair on World Theory.
We're going to do the lair boss for sure. We'll try that shit out.
System.
I want to try it out.
After that, check your world quest and special assignments for any useful gear, reputation, or currencies that you need to start clearing through. Additionally, you also have side quests, lore objects, treasures, rares, and you can also focus on that whole situation to push your Zul'Jar's Forces Renown as well. You also want to unlock the new Prey reward track as well as kick off things with delves to make sure you're prepped and ready to go for the next week. And if you're on a fresher undergeared character, you can use heroic dungeons to grab some veteran gear and then mythic zeros to grab some champion track gear. Finally, head back to Silvermoon, check for any remaining weekly quests, profession knowledge, crafting orders, or currencies you still need to grab. After that, make sure you join a guild, and if you guys are interested, you can join ours down in the Discord link in the comments section below. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up today's video. I hope you guys are excited about the brand new season. If you got anything out of this video, let's get some season 2 hype
It's almost
in the
off the
comment
screen
section below. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Sky from the Comeback Kids. I'll see you in the next one.
Nice video.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, consider subscribing or check out one of the videos you see on screen here to stay up to date on all things Warcraft. My name's Sky for the Comeback Kids. It's an absolute pleasure to make content for you all. I'll see you in the next one.
That was a good one. Good video overall. A lot of things to do. So, I mean, look, you're not going to like gear out to max, but you'll be able to try all the new content. You'll definitely get some gear out of this preseason week with a 292 item level up to 303 or something like that. So there'll be plenty to get that shit in, get it done. Champion level gear goes up to 309. So I mean, if you really get crests and grind that shit, you can get it done. But Mythic Zeros will only be available one time each this week. So it's a weekly lockout this week, but getting those done, pushing your delves up in level, that'll be a good thing to do. And then, hey, try that lair boss out too. And then if you're really a rep bandy, plenty to do then because you can just rep grind this whole week. A nice video overall from the Comeback Kids.